Right, let's get reaction on the story from ANC National Spokesperson Zizi Kodwa, who joins us in studio. Zizi, thanks for your time as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
So Makhosi Khoza saying yesterday she's not sure why she's even in the ANC any longer. Of course, to the public who support her, many of them, they won't be happy if she leaves the governing party.
No, her political conduct, she has long left the African National Congress. She remains in the ANC because she's a fifth column. That her handlers, the mandate is very clear, destroy the ANC from within. And therefore, I think whatever she's doing the work of what would have been the opposition. Of course, we have had a very weak opposition in South Africa. That can't destroy the ANC from outside. People like her, they've become co-opted by handlers. And I think she won't succeed. But of course, we're not an organization of cowards. They would have expected us to have acted the first time she made her public outburst to please her handlers. But we keep her because we want to be meticulous in terms of our disciplinary processes. She'll remain within the ANC. We knew that we will defeat the motion of no confidence because her handlers had hoped that one of their prayers was that we will recall her before the 8th because of the threats she was making in public. We knew we'll defeat it. We defeated it. She remains part of the African National Congress, but will characterize her in many ways. She left the African National Congress in terms of her political conduct. She's a fifth column. Many people like her in the past had failed to destroy the ANC. In fact, one organization that became a threat to the ANC was COPE. Today, COPE is one-man show called Terra Lekota. Nobody can destroy the ANC from within. She'll be a darling, attention seeker in public. But like many others, she will fall flat on her face when she leaves the ANC.
So why then are you still keeping her in the party?
Because we're not an organization of cowards. Because she wants to live with her credibility intact, that we're intolerant about her views. It's not about her views, it's about her conduct. That's why we want to deal with her conduct, including the decision by KwaZulu-Natal branch to discipline her. She must face the discipline of the organization because we are not an organization of free agents. We're an organization where members, when they join the organization, they sign what is called an oath of membership. You commit yourselves to the discipline of the organization, you subject yourself, and in that line, there's a line that says you will be loyal to the decision of the organization. That's why EFF is disciplining the councillors who voted against party line here, not far from here, Mogale City. In Cape Town, the Democratic Alliance is disciplining councillors in a Kraaifontein sub-council who voted against Democratic Alliance. But they are hypocritical and they are becoming chameleons when it comes to the ANC, that the ANC must self-destruct. We cannot allow that. We will protect our discipline as an organization, and when necessary, we'll enforce party discipline.
Now, Makhosi Khoza is actually trending as #1 on social media, most of it in support of her. What do you say to people who will be unhappy with the action you're taking against her?
We will do what is best for the African National Congress. It was one of the most difficult decisions that we had to take as the ANC, was a decision to expel a group of 8. The most respected men in the African National Congress, highly intellectuals, were to be expelled, who were, in terms of the character and the posture of the ANC at the time, who were respected because in themselves they saw the ANC. Nobody is above the African National Congress. She can trend the whole year and the month, 365 days, but she's not above the African National Congress.
Now, you say she's tarnishing the party's reputation with her comments calling for the president to resign, calling for a vote with your conscience. But many would argue that the president has done even worse by tarnishing the organization's reputation, yet he's still in charge of the party.
I think we always mix water with paraffin, and I know you made this point earlier. Makhosi Khoza, we have spoken to a number of people who have, in our view, have brought the name of the organization, and they have been called, one of whom could have been the president. The reason there's a confusion in public that there's an Integrity Commission report about the president, because the Integrity Commission of the ANC, established by the ANC, had invited the president to discuss some of the issues that have been raised, including the state of the ANC, 2 meetings with the Integrity Commission. We did the same with people who spoke out in public about the ANC, whether it's Pravin, whether it's Jackson, whether it's Mbalula, people who spoke against one another in public in terms of the public spurt. So we've been talking, including advising her, giving her a counsel. You can't speak like that and continue to undermine the African National Congress. Talk to us. We don't see this courage internal, though, to members who speak in public. She was a delegate at the National Policy Conference we held recently here in Johannesburg. There was not this courage. She did not speak in those meetings. Recently, on the 8th last week, when the Secretary General, accompanied by officials of the ANC, including President Zuma, was present in Cape Town, addressing the mandate and the caucus of the ANC and the party line. She was present in the caucus of the ANC. She did not raise an issue. She was not courageous enough to face her own organization, to tell President Zuma in his face about what she feels. But because of microphones and cameras, she's able to convince. That's why she's trending. She can trend. We welcome that. But we have a responsibility to restore party discipline.
I know you said earlier in the week that this wasn't a witch hunt for people or MPs who voted against the president in the motion of no confidence, but it seems like it is by the way you're speaking about Makhosi Khoza.
The problem is that I think in the public discourse and the media has made Makhosi Khoza a darling and a target of the ANC. She's not a target of the ANC. What the 5 MPs who represent the ANC in the committee that she used to be the chairperson, what they did in the ANC, we don't support. That was ill-discipline. We said immediately they must be taken, and there's already a process in Parliament. So we took a decision not just to remove her, we are reconfiguring the entire committee. So we have a responsibility to keep that committee intact and remain dysfunctional, because the working relationship between the chair and the committee is irretrievable. It does not exist. And therefore, we can't take that irresponsible decision. We took a responsible decision that says, let's reconfigure, as we have a responsibility, that committee has got a responsibility of oversight. By the way, not only the MPs, in terms of those who are members of the committee who did not appear, even Minister Faith, who was supposed to appear on that day, did not appear. She must account. She's part of the people who must account in terms of the DC as outlined by the Chief Whip. She must explain why she did not appear as expected.
But what action is going to be taken against them? Because you've already taken action against Makhosi Khoza. Very quickly, at the snap of a finger, you have.
The issue about she holds a responsibility of being a chairperson. She remains a member or an MP of the ANC. So she's not removed from the list of the ANC. We remove her as a chairperson. And therefore, we needed somebody else to act, because we can't allow that committee to be dysfunctional. That committee must continue to do its work, including reconfiguration of that committee to bring new members of the ANC. So other members, they do not have portfolio in terms of functions in the committee. We had to move her particularly because the tension between the committee and the chair arises on her portfolio, on that portfolio committee, because she's the chair of the committee.
Why did the ANC MPs have an issue with her after the vote of no confidence, but not the opposition members? Is it because you say she has handlers?
No, what is becoming very clear is that naturally, when there is an irretrievable relationship between a chairperson, a leadership, or...
Like the one with the president and Pravin Gordon.
Like the one with the president and president, it was unworkable. Whether we like the public opinion, like in favor of Pravin Gordon at a time, it would not be possible that we have a president with a minister who are not in speaking terms. It will not be allowed if you want a functional executive. And therefore the decision was taken in the interest of making sure that the oversight of the committee is not undermined because of the relationship between the chairperson and the committee.
Now, you say you're dealing with Makhosi Khoza quite adamantly. What are you doing with Mduduzi Manana and him admitting to assaulting a woman? On
Monday, when we met as the National Executive Committee, we took a decision that, among others, we've decided, I think Tula Sizwe will represent you, was in that meeting, that we've agreed that we'll take a disciplinary action. If Mdu Manana was holding any executive position in the ANC, we would have applied what we did with others, like Marius, we would have said step aside. But she's not in any leadership position of the African National Congress. She's in government. He is in government. And therefore, we said, from the point of view of the ANC, guided by the Integrity Commission in terms of guidelines, guided by the discipline of the ANC, Mdu Manana will go the DC processes of the African National Congress. That we have said.
So you say you'll take action against an ANC member in his capacity if he does something wrong, but you won't take action against an ANC-appointed deputy minister. That makes no sense to me.
It makes a sense if you understand the ANC, how it works, unless you want the ANC to work in a way you understand it. The ANC is an organization.
Well, you have called as the ANC for the president to act when you're not happy with certain things in government.
I'm happy to listen to you if you ask a question, but if you are rules of government. I can't speak on behalf of government and the executive. What action, therefore, they must take in relation to such conduct? The man has admitted, I think there is an outcry about it, but as the African National Congress, whether there's an outcry or not, we have taken a decision that his conduct on that evening or a morning deserves to be processed in terms of the DC processes of the African National Congress.
All right, so let me speak now and respond to that. You are saying that you're not going to get involved because he's a government appointment, he's in government. Yet, previously, you have said when you're not happy with things happening in government, as the ANC, we call on the president to consider this, this, and this. Why aren't you doing that this time around?
We can only call and make that suggestion. We'll never instruct what government must do.
So you can make the call now?
We are very clear in terms of the relationship between the party and our government. We don't instruct and micromanage what our government must do. When we took the decision, the president of the ANC on Monday was in the meeting of the African National Congress as the president of the ANC. As in what the president, as an appointing authority, may decide necessary and good for the country, indicated both by what our government represents, the president will take that decision. We don't have to be instructed by the African National Congress. That conversation we've had in the African National Congress.
Well, I'm not saying you should instruct him. The word I used was call on the president to do something like you have done previously. Why is it not being done now?
What we have done, firstly, is to act in terms of the member of the African National Congress, whom in our view has transgressed the discipline of the African National Congress. And
how do you feel that he's still a minister, though? Is that something you can be proud of?
Our view is that there should have been action quite earlier. As and when, from the point of view of the ANC, proudly that we have acted, of course, at the African National Congress, their disciplinary processes. As to why government is taking some time, I don't know what due processes in government. I was only an MP for 2 hours. The Guinness Book of Record, the shortest MP ever. So I will not know what processes deputy president, president, and the member of parliament.
Well, let's look at it this way. If the president could take a decision to fire Pravin Gordhan and Mcebisi Jonas so quickly, why hasn't he done this now with Mduduzi Manana?
I wish I was in the head of the president. I wish I was a spokesperson of the president to answer you.
Well, you still work with the president.
I'm a spokesperson of the African National Congress. We are asking of the President of the Republic. I can't speak on behalf of government. I can't speak on behalf of the executive, including the President.
All right. Thanks, Zizi. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was the ANC's national spokesperson, Zizi Kodwa.